I didn't mean to say that, but I didn't mean to say that. Let's get back to what I was saying. The prostate exam. Sports Jock has gone through the valley of the shadow of death, and he made it through. Just wanted to get that off. Interesting question. The doctor asked me, he said, isn't this what, when you played, did they give you this exam? And I'm like, no. Nobody is doing this in the locker room. Back, you have to be retired. If you did this when I had all that aggression in me, I would have hit you. But it was an interesting morning. It was early in the morning. And women, I understand why some of you might not be into that. I understand now. I might not be into that. Yeah, it's going to be that way in 2014. Listen. We're changing the game here on the Sports Jock Show. We're changing the game. We've sat around and we gave you the lilies and the lollipops. Now we're about to give you the rough and the raw. And if you can't handle it, hey, still keep listening. But that's kind of how the new year has gone. So I'm just getting back to normalcy. Whatever you can do after that. I don't know how long this will last. And I was wondering maybe if a woman had done it, maybe it would have been a little easier. But then I was thinking maybe it would have made it arousal. I don't know. So arousing, excuse me. Don't want to get some credits locked off my score because I said arousing. But I was thinking maybe it would have been a little more arousing. But a countdown, doctors out there, give me a countdown. Steady, ready, set. Lou 90, that's what I'm used to, the sports. Lou 90. Y'all hear the snap count on TV. Y'all hear? Little snap count. But that's how we started the year. We're glad to be here. 2014 Sports Jock Show. Great NFL action this weekend. We're going to talk about that a little later in this hour. Coming up in the show as well. Dennis Rodman and nuclear bombs. We're close to... Dennis Rodman, we're going to talk about Dennis Rodman, Johnny Manziel, Charlie Strong, much, much more in this show. We have Sekou Smith coming up in the 11 o'clock hour with the NBA, and we're going to talk to our man Todd Harris about Major League Baseball Hall of Fame class and A-Rod suspension. But before I go any deeper, get it? I was talking about deeper earlier. I've been hanging with Big Kenny. He's teaching me some things, how to keep connecting the dots. Well, not the deeper part, but about keeping the things apart. But I got my cast of characters here. The funny man himself, Chicago's finest, Southern Miss great, Omega Psi Phi Board of Trustees. Big Kenny is in the house.
Good morning,
good morning to you.
Jock. Good morning, brother. Good morning. My condolences are with you. I applaud your courage for being man enough to go in and get checked. I myself had the courage to get my prostate checked, and I'm not going to discuss it. I just, it was something that happened, and it happened. I'm gonna think about the future. I just don't. I don't want to think about the past no more. You know what I'm saying? And that's just that.
It becomes an instant memory, doesn't it?
I will tell you this much: when I had mine done, my physician was a female.
Okay.
And
is that
my
much
first
better?
time. No, it was my first time seeing this female physician, and I went in and, we didn't do a whole bunch of pillow talk because, I needed to stay in G mode. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make this no more emotional than it already is. So, and, she goes through the whole, okay, prepare yourself. And so I prepared myself. And then right as we were about to get into the exam, I turned around and said, wait a minute. What's your first name? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think let's get for real now. You know what I'm saying? Yes. We about to have a personal moment. I need to know you on a personal level. Because
you're going to always be able to go tell people you stuck your finger.
So then I turn around and we getting ready to do the exam. Then I turned around again. I said, wait a minute. So how long you been doing this? You know, let's sit down. Let's have a cup of coffee. You don't want to go out and maybe, you know, see a movie together or something before we cross this line. And it's a very emotional moment for a man.
It's a real moment.
And then, you know, then when you hear that you look fine, okay, thank you so much. But ain't no, she was a nice looking lady too, but ain't no hitting on her after that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no so what you doing on the weekends, dude? For real? Come on, man. Let's.
And the thing that I really cringed at, Big Kenny, was how the doctor was like, "We're gonna need to do this every year now."
Listen,
I'm thinking not until I feel some pain. We're not gonna need to be.
I will say this: I did it once. I was cool. The next time I find out, next time I do it, or the next time they touch my prostate, will be in an autopsy. That's just me. If something is wrong with me, I'm gonna be walking down the street and just pass out on my face, and they be like, "Dude's prostate was size of a basketball," and I mean, or whatever, whatever. I'm not going back. It's like prison. I ain't going back, Pete.
Before we go to break, we have to introduce somebody that probably found prostates. You know, if you know anything about our counterpart right here, you know, prostate searching is not above her.
Not out of her realm.
Yes. But it is beneath me. That is for sure.
Marky, good morning.
Good morning. That just went from Dear Diary to Dear Diarrhea. Jeez Louise. Golly, I did not know what I was getting into.
Yay, you know.
She said getting into.
We're going to go to break, Marky. Hold on. We'll be right back. More of the Sports Jock Show. NFL action, playoffs hot and heavy. What a weekend. Yesterday, what a weekend this coming Sunday. 888-926-7562. The Sports Jock, that's JOC.com.
Hey, don't miss a show in 2014. Get the Sports JOC wake-up call at 9 a.m. Sign up at thesportsjock.com.
Yeah, baby, I like it raw.
Don't go away. More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy is coming up next.
Ice cold brew! Ooh, that was a heck of a sack. Chicken wings? Ice cold brews? You know, Bob, he might want to hit the showers and head to Hooters.
Hooters is your one-stop shop for food, fun, and fantasy football.
Get your very own fantasy football draft kit and keep up to the minute stats with Hooters' totally free Wi-Fi.
Great food, great fun, and your very own cheerleaders, the world-famous Hooters girls.
Hooters!
Visit HootersDraftParty.com to book your party.
Your busy lifestyle demands performance. Energy drinks and shots can be an acquired taste and can cause jitters, crashes, and even stomach discomfort. The new 8-Hour Energy Patch is the natural, sugar, and calorie-free alternative to energy drinks, shots, and even coffee. It's the only energy that sticks. Just 2 time-release patches will keep you going at work, the gym, or even a night out. No unpleasant taste, jitters, or crashes. For a 12-hour boost, just add another patch. For only 4 hours, use one. You're in charge. Visit 8hourenergy.com for more info and your free sample. Do not exceed 3 patches per day.
It's not always easy being a dad.
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
What? What do you mean she's not coming?
But it's always worth it.
It's the fairy princess!
It is I, Groove Zinklebell.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
I know it's really you, Drew. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
In the red zone.
Welcome back to the Sports Talk Show. I'm the Sports Talk Wayne Candy. It is 2014. As I said at the beginning of the show, we're going to be a little rough and a little raw, which means that I'm probably going to have to fire the good producer because he's going to be putting up that church finger telling me not to talk about stuff, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. And, I don't care about the grading system anymore, good producer. Really, really don't. Just like you didn't care about your dog peeing on my mailbox. I don't really care anymore about your grading system of what we can't. We're going to be butthole all day long. Get ready. Before we jump into Saturday's action in the NFL, real quick note for you women out there, especially you 30, 32, 35, 38-year-old women who are putting all that pressure on your man to have a child. 58-year-old woman out in Utah, Miss Julia Navarro, is expecting in 2 weeks to give birth to her grandchild. She's been a surrogate carrier for her daughter, who's 32. 58-year-old carrying a baby. Let's hope that there's no deformities. But what a...
She's already deformed. A 58-year-old pregnant is a deformity.
Well, I'm quite sure the family would have made sure that she medically could carry it, correct?
I'm sure, but still. Can you imagine an almost 60-year-old, someone who could almost be retired, pregnant, walking into Babies R Us?
Yeah. And what does the child call her? Grandmama mama?
G-ma.
I mean, because it's technically...
Maybe she calls her
it's biologically going to be technically your mother.
Correct.
Because you carried the child.
It's Utah, people. Did you not hear me say Utah?
Okay.
I didn't hear that. Yeah, that changes biology.
I'm saying it's a lot of sister cousins, mama.
Yeah,
okay. Right.
Yeah,
so
that is my mama's sister, but that's my grandmother's aunt.
Brother.
Yeah. It's Utah.
Right. This is my uncle brother. And my cousin's son.
58 years old, giving birth. God bless you.
Now, I'm thinking artificial insemination. Or did they do it the old-fashioned
No.
way?
They did it. They did it through the doctor.
Oh, okay. Because it's Utah. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
Look, now I'm gonna go have a baby with you, but I'm gonna put it in your mother.
It was Utah. Maybe they saved a few dollars.
What's funny, they did have an episode on the show, Shameless,
right,
last season, where the lady couldn't have a child, so the boyfriend tried to get he actually did do what you're saying in the show.
Right.
I think maybe the mother in the show is maybe 50, though.
Right.
But it was interesting that they went the old school way.
Right.
And not through the doctor, so...
And for all of you young ladies out there struggling to give birth, if you got a friend, a good-looking mom or auntie or just, a neighbor that you want me to inseminate for you and carry your baby, just let me know. Y'all can keep the kid. I'm just saying, we ain't got to split hairs.
Shoot off a few rounds?
Hey, listen, I'm trying to help people. It's about helping people, Marky. You sound so selfish right now.
Clearly.
Clearly,
I'm the one who's asking for
funny.
leave. I'm selfish.
I want to help.
Saturday's action in the NFL. Big game out in Seattle, where they said at one point when Marshawn Lynch scored a touchdown, the scales went up to earthquake-type noise.
Yeah.
New Orleans playing up there, and what seemed to be decent weather for Seattle. Outdoor stadium, no snow, was a little light rain. Seattle and that defense, Big Kenny Markey, I mean, when you look at the playoffs as a whole, a lot of these teams that we're going to talk about have great young defenses, and Drew Brees and his offense just could not figure out how to have any success when you watch this game. And it is evident the Seahawks had beat the Saints before this year, and it seemed like the same movie, part 2. Seattle hosting San Fran. We'll talk about San Fran in a minute, winning their game yesterday. But when you look at Russell Wilson, Big Kenny, I know numbers don't really do much for you. They don't jump off the page. Can they win a Super Bowl with him throwing for like 105 yards? I mean, is that possible?
Offense sells tickets. Defense wins championships.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you beat a team like New Orleans, convincingly.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't down to the last second where you know, if Drew Brees has any ticks on the clock, he has a chance to beat you. He's done it many times in the past. But part of the reason that they won that game is that Seattle was playing some smash mouth football.
Old-fashioned 98.
It's interesting to me that the sun was out and it was shining right before kickoff. Then kickoff came, and then the wind and the rain, and it was like, this is the type of day it's going to be. And then, like, one of the first hits was Seattle laying the wood on somebody. Right. Seattle laid the wood on dude, and he was like, you know, we didn't practice for this.
Right.
You know what I mean? It seemed like might be a changing of the guard as well. Russell Wilson up against Drew Brees. Drew Brees has always been one of those top-tier quality quarterbacks, and maybe it's time for him to pass the torch because they gave it a solid effort. It's not like anybody was slouching out there, and they still couldn't pull it off. So, but it was the defense.
It was a
defense
defense game. Totally.
It was totally a defensive game. Now, New Orleans came to play.
And as you're saying, and Mark, did you watch the game?
Yeah.
When you watch the game, you could really see the defense, as Big Kenny was saying, the hitting the defense was doing seemed to wake up Seattle's offense. Next thing you know, it's like, well, let us play the same way.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how people forget how one side of the ball can make the other inspire. And next thing you know, the beast, Marshawn Lynch, who the NFL tried to fine $50,000 early in the week for not talking to the media, which is very interesting how you can find somebody who he went to the podium. He just didn't talk long. So they rescinded it. Now they're saying, if you do that again, we're going to double it, but we won't charge you $50,000 this time. But it was a game, what you're saying, New Orleans seemed like they just didn't like that physical play.
And it
was like on both sides of the ball.
And really, who
let's
would?
Play.
You know what I mean? Some people like it rough, but not that rough.
Right.
You know what I mean? They were really out there playing a style of ball that you rarely see on the West Coast.
Correct.
I would think that New Orleans would be a little more used to it being here in the South, but Seattle, it's interesting to me, Sean Payton had painted a Seahawks emblem in the middle of the Saints practice field to get them accustomed to playing the Seahawks, but the Seahawks really went and did some training, they did some hitting, they got prepared to take it to them, and it showed on the score.
It seemed like they took their bye week and really
seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
And really coach put in their mind the way you beat this team is with physical play. And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't pull the pads out. Like, oh, we're going to hit.
Yeah.
We're going to hit during practice so y'all can get back to the mindset, because they did take more of like a Baltimore, Pittsburgh old team approach on both sides. Like, here we come. I don't know what you're going to do, but we're going to be doing this right here
and
all day long.
And what I think is interesting in just the playoffs thus far, but especially in that game, is if there was a hit where there was a penalty levied against the Seahawks for that hit, you look on the sidelines, usually the team would be admonishing the player like that was a stupid mistake, that was a mental mistake. Yeah. They looked at him like, hey, we'll take the 10 yards, baby. Yeah. Good job.
Right.
We'll take the 10 yards. But the next time he runs that route, it's going to be in the back of his mind like that wood is coming. So it makes your opponent a lot more skittish. It makes them play a little more, play a little more timidly. out there on the field, and it showed, man.
And
it showed. I was surprised to see it show that much on the
Especially
Saints,
with
though.
the physicality of the Saints, because they're normally a very hard
physical team.
Very hard.
They shut down Graham.
Put back, you know.
Is it Graham?
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham shut him down.
Yeah, they was jumping him at the line.
They
played an old school playoffs. When you talk about playoffs, people say you play defense and run the ball. That's what they were doing.
Jimmy Graham usually dominates. Right. I didn't hear his name called much during this game, and then when Marshawn Lynch bust loose, at some point it looked like they were afraid to tackle him. You know what I mean? Right. He was just really running all over people. So I think they might go to the Super Bowl. My money's on the Seattle Seahawks.
And real quickly, Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts, a game that we thought were going to be more competitive than it was. Pretty Tom and his boys, they went back to the 90s, too, with how they played. And one thing you already know about this Patriot team, if their defense shows up, they're going to win. It's no doubt. Once you turn the TV on and you see their defense making any plays, as you saw in this game early on, intercepted the ball, ran it down to the 1. They jumped in the end zone, quick score. But when they was making plays, they had 3 interceptions. It's hard to beat Tom when they don't play. And in this game, he rarely threw the ball. They was doing the same thing Seattle did. I don't know if maybe they was watching the game a little earlier and said, you know what, we should try that. So they turned around to LeGarrette Blount and gave him the ball 40 times. I don't think Tom Brady he didn't even throw a touchdown, and they scored 43 points. Very impressive. We'll talk a little more about that when we come back, and we'll jump into yesterday's action. Denver winning, 49ers winning, talk about how in the next stage of the playoffs. 888-926-7562. We'll be back with more of the Sports Jock Show in a moment.
Hey, if you missed some of the show today, listen to the rebroadcast Fridays 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on CRN-FM, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And listen 1 to 4, 90.5 Camden, Alabama. It's the sportsjoc.com.
Don't go away. More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy is coming up next.
Your busy lifestyle demands performance. Energy drinks and shots can be an acquired taste and can cause jitters, crashes, and even stomach discomfort. The new 8-Hour Energy Patch is the natural, sugar and calorie-free alternative to energy drinks, shots, and even coffee. It's the only energy that sticks. Just 2 time-release patches will keep you going at work, the gym, or even a night out. No unpleasant taste, jitters, or crashes. For a 12-hour boost, just add another patch. For only 4 hours, use one. You're in charge. Visit 8hourenergy.com for more info and your free sample. Do not exceed 3 patches per day.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Can you tell if these vegetables are being contaminated with bacteria that could cause paralysis? Listen, you can't see it either. Use different cutting boards so that the bacteria in raw meats and seafood and their juices doesn't touch prep surfaces for other foods like veggies. Raw food may contain bacteria that can make you very sick, or worse. Roughly 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year, but you can keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Take this time to breathe deeply and close your eyes. Right now, you're completely in control. Unlike the time you and your son played basketball and you attempted to slam dunk, or when you tried removing those raccoons from the basement. Concentrate on the soothing sound of my voice. Release the memory of when you wrestled with that beehive in your son's treehouse. Let go of the time you thought that skunk was a cat, or when you pulled into the garage with your son's bike on top of the car. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there's my son.
Hey, Dad.
What's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Well, it's just sort of.
Hello, Dad.
Susan? Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and maybe see some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy. Does any of you know how to do the nay-nay? You know how to do the nay-nay dance? I learned about it at the BCS Championship. With I was riding to the game with my friend Marquise Daniels, who I found out I think is my cousin, but we're not sure if we're cousins or not. But he played basketball, Marquise Daniels, and he was telling me about a new dance that y'all do called the nay-nay. You put your arm up and you.
Oh, she got it.
Did you see that, Kenny? Kenny number 2. I'm telling you, man, if you get the date, I'll provide the tickets. You'll be in. She loved basketball. Shave your head like Kobe. Wear you some Kobe's.
All you got to do is really be rough.
Yeah, she's international. She like it rough. She wants you to. But we'll talk about that later in the show at 11 o'clock hour. We'll get a little rough and raw.
And for all the dudes out there that know what the nay-nay is, having knowledge is a good thing, but if I see you doing the nay-nay, wherever I see you doing the nay-nay, I'm going to punch you in your chest and call your dad. That's just straight from me to you. I'm going to punch you in the chest. I'm going to call your father and tell him come get you from wherever we are.
Yeah, it's not a dance that's really made for any man over the age of 12.
It's not really made for men, period, because that's how it starts. You know what I mean?
Oh, it started at 12?
That's how it starts. He be doing the nay-nay at 12, and the next thing you know, they be calling him nay-nay. I'm just saying. Don't let it happen to your kids.
Oh, man. But yes, Saturday's game, as we was talking about real quickly, the Patriots defeating the Colts 43-22, a game that really was never in doubt. The running back Blunt for the Patriots, running all over the place, 24 carries, 166 yards, 4 TDs. The big fellow really slamming it in there and really setting the tone. And the Patriots defense picking off Andrew Luck, who had more interceptions in 2 playoff games than he almost had the whole season. He threw 9 interceptions on the season. He threw 7 interceptions in the playoffs in just 2 games. But it's a learning curve. A lot of people will tell you that, about learning that there's a mystique about the playoffs that is truly true that you have to learn, because the veterans tell you that, oh, okay, the game is going to go to another level. And it really is, because what happens is the referees let you play a little more.
Yeah, they do.
That little foul that used to get you a flag, they don't call that anymore. So your receiver is not as open. And I think a lot of young quarterbacks have to learn that. You know, you're not going to get those little calls like you were saying when you watched the Seahawks game. In the regular season, coach would have got mad at you for that penalty. Now he's sitting there like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I was talking about all week. Hit him, you know, and we'll figure it out later. But let them know where we're coming from. But in this game, something the Patriots hadn't really done all year was dominate running the ball. And if they can run the ball like this, with Pretty Tom back there relaxing, getting a massage, fresh Uggs. It just looked like he was in his,
new jail.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
You know, something that I think is interesting, 2 things. One, you could see the inexperience on Andrew Luck's face when he faced adversity, when he got the pick 6 or when he got intercepted. You could see him shaking visibly when he thought his receiver was open, but he couldn't get an open receiver. You could see him visibly shaking. Then when they got that running game going, it was like everybody. You ever see a game like maybe a basketball game and they go, look, they can't shoot from the outside, and then they start raining 3-pointers, and everybody's looking like we didn't practice for this.
Right.
And that's how they were looking on the field, like we weren't practicing for the running game. They didn't even know the Patriots really had a running game.
Yeah, nobody knew.
Nobody knew because it's all about Tom Brady. And now all of a sudden, here comes Garrett Blunt down the sidelines like a freight train with no brakes, and everybody's looking like, hey, man, we didn't practice for
Where
this.
did this come from?
Right.
Yeah.
And you could see very early on that their spirit was broken, and they didn't feel like they were going to win this
No,
game.
you could see it within the first 2 minutes. I mean,
Right.
when, what was it, like a minute 20, something like that? You're 7-0. I mean, that, and from an interception, I mean, that's going to kill your spirit for any team, never mind someone who's never been in that situation in a playoff game. When you've got, more visibility, you've got more plays that you can make because you have, the calls aren't as strict. And then you've got people who are just in that hungry mentality that I have to win this game. Not, I hope we win this game. It's, I have to win this game.
Yes.
And now, Sports Jock, I can ask you, because you played at that level, what motivates someone who's already a champion? I mean, the Patriot way has garnered them many trips to the playoffs. They've been to the Super Bowl. They've won the Super Bowl. What makes you still have that fire? What gives you that drive to stay hungry at that level?
Age, a lot of times. When you look at this team, Bill Belichick is in his mid-60s, so he understands that my best coaching years as far as youth is behind me. Tom Brady is sitting over there looking like, hey, man, I'm going to really need some Uggs in about 2 more seasons, which means, and we might not get here again.
Right.
You really have to accept. A lot of people joking, and we were watching the game, me and my friend Jerome Bettis yesterday in the house. I told him, I said, man, Takeo Spikes, 15 years in the NFL, never went to a playoff game.
Yeah.
He was amazed. I say, never went to a playoff game. And you would think in 15 years somebody got you at least to a playoff game. Forget winning a Super Bowl, a playoff game. This team, this organization understands how infrequent you can really get there. And when you get that team, I think that was the knock on the Falcons. They had a Super Bowl winning team. And the 3 or 4 years they had it, it never happened. And then next thing you know, you're top 10 pick. You can't win any games because that's kind of how the wheel goes around. And I think that both of these, the head coach and the star quarterback, both still play with that mentality that you don't get there often. And when you do, you got to go all out because there is no tomorrow. And they really dominated this game on the offensive line, running the ball. LeGarrette Blunt, who's always been a hard runner, even punched the kid. What did he get through out of college for? He punched somebody in the some dude at a bowl game. So you know he's about it. Like
it happens. Sometimes you got to punch a dude. Probably caught a dude doing the nay-nay. And was like, hey, man, let me talk to you. Pow!
Right.
Don't ever let me see you doing that again.
In yesterday's biggest game, I think out of the two, the 49ers going to the Panthers, Cam Newton once again, kind of like Andrew Luck, getting his first little taste, throwing 2 interceptions, learning, like I'm saying, the coverage is a little tighter because the referees don't call that little bit of stuff. Yeah. They let you know. Don't get to if you're a defensive end, they're not going to really call holding. If you saw the games, you see it wasn't a lot of penalties, those little ticky-tack penalties. The referees do turn a blind eye. Kind of even in the NBA, you see it.
Yep, you definitely see it.
They call less and less, and when you watch this game, Colin Kaepernick did enough to win. Wasn't a great day for him. Anquan Bolden looked like he had found the fountain of youth out there catching everything.
And getting in people's faces.
And you just love that kind of playoff. Because it's kind of like what Marky said. This is it.
Yeah.
When this clock goes out, either you won or you called a U-Haul truck. Yeah. That's how the playoffs. It's a real cold feeling because you feel like
win or make reservations at the sports bar for you and your party to watch next week's games.
Right.
I think it was really interesting. Earlier in the season, they talked about the brand new Cam Newton, how his attitude had changed, how he seemed to be more mature, how he seemed to take losing and the pressure of being the number one guy in stride and all of that. Yesterday, he looked like the old Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He was frustrated. He had that don't talk to me look on his face. He was isolating himself after he made a bad play. Later in the post-game interviews, he tried to man up and give some mature assessment of what he had done, but you could see little boy all over.
Because this is a total new experience. And the 49ers, who just left the Super Bowl, they knew where to go. There is another level. You think it's not, but it's a very different, and it's a more manly. They sacked him 5 times yesterday.
And he wasn't expecting that. He couldn't use his feet. And then when you have that self-absorbed mentality, you might shake that for a little while during the regular season, but then you get them to a bye in the playoffs, and you're thinking, we got this.
Good.
And then they come back and show you that there is still more to learn in this game.
Yes.
You are still a very young quarterback in this league. So he looked like the old little boy Cam Newton, and it showed. And,
the only difference was when he was soaking, he was standing up.
Yeah, exactly.
In the old days, he would be sitting on the bench.
Right.
Yesterday, he was doing it standing up. So at least he got off the bench.
At least.
Do it.
Yeah. He's not. We can't really call him Scam Newton anymore.
Right. We can't call him that.
We can't really call him complete scam.
And they were overwhelmed, kind of like the Saints, with the physical play that the 49ers were bringing. They were bringing defensively. You could see. Hold him up. It was like one guy was grabbing the receiver and the other guy was coming to put his elbow. It was a real physical game, a lot of, like you saying, in your face, back and forth. And the 49ers are comfortable because they just had that experience of going to the Super Bowl. It seemed like we forgot that they went to the Super Bowl last year, but they represented the NFC.
And it seemed like Carolina was thinking, they're from San Francisco. Really, how physical could they be?
When we come back, we're going to finish up with yesterday's action, talk about the Broncos and the Chargers, a game that really didn't get interesting to the end, and other NFL news and notes. In the next hour, we're going to jump into Major League Baseball. Our man Todd Harris and talk about this A-Rod situation. That and much more. 888-926-7562. The Sports Jock. That's JOC.com.
Hey, join the show online, live, or anywhere you are on Skype. Just click Skype from the Sports Jock app or add the Sports Jock to your Skype friends list.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Can you tell if these vegetables are being contaminated with bacteria that could cause paralysis? Listen, you can't see it either. Use different cutting boards so that the bacteria in raw meats and seafood and their juices doesn't touch prep surfaces for other foods like veggies. Raw food may contain bacteria that can make you very sick, or worse. Roughly 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year, but you can keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do you throw a curveball? How do you build a fort? How do refrigerators run? How do fish learn how to swim?
Kids ask a lot of questions.
How high can you jump?
But you don't have to know every answer.
How many phone numbers are there?
Because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent.
How do cell phones work?
There are thousands of children in foster care who don't need every question answered.
What's electricity?
They just need you.
What's the moon made of?
For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face, I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
And now, back to the Sports Jock, Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock, Wayne Candy. You can hit us up at 888-926-7562. It's 2014. This is the first live show of the Sports Jock Show in this new year. I hope you're having a great new year. The month is almost over. Get ready, Aquarius. That is my month. I won't tell you my age, but I did get a prostate exam, so put two and two together of what that might mean. But yesterday's action, one game that we didn't talk about was the Chargers and the Broncos. But before we jump into that, that dance we were talking about that Big Kenny recommends that no man should ever be caught doing, we do have a little clip of the dance. Now, it's okay. I'll try to point it out.
Yeah. Yes, UWG, man, that shit.
Stop it right there real quick. Stop it right there. University of West Georgia. What the hell is that?
Almost to Alabama.
Oh.
Just so you know.
Oh, I just need to be. Why y'all all on? I mean.
No, it's off of 20. It's over there, you know, going towards Birmingham if you need to escape the state or lose an hour. That's
West Georgia. All right. Okay, let's more Nene then.
They how you do that shit, bro. Real shit, man.
I'm stoner, I'm stoner, I'm stoner. I'm stoner, I'm stoner, I'm stoner. I'm stoner, I'm stoner, I'm stoner. I'm motherfucking stoner. I just put a 40 on my wrist just like a bus. I just put 10,000 on my bitch just like a bus. I just drank with white said just like a bus. Just like a bus. Just like.
Wow.
Why did y'all cut the music? I told you it's 2014.
2014.
I'll let you know when it's too rough and rugged. I mean, it ain't working the other way. But that's a little taste of the nay. I don't know.
It looks like you're kissing away a seizure.
It doesn't even seem like you're really dancing. It's like you sit there
stepping around.
And you do something for 2 seconds and you stop. And then I don't know what that is.
Back in my day when we called dancing.
This is what legalizing
we were
weed.
Up on a couch.
This is what legalizing weed will become. You just be.
The only thing missing from this video is me running out of the frame into the shot and just punching these dudes in the chest. Where in the hell as an adult male do you look at that dance and go, I'm going to set that off?
Yeah.
I cannot wait to throw on my little tight jeans with my little girly looking shirt and get out and wiggle my hips and wave my hands over my head.
And blow kisses. You forgot that.
And blow kisses. Somebody's daddy dropped the ball.
I don't understand the dance.
Kids today.
You don't seem like you're doing nothing,
they're not
though.
adults anymore. 18 does not mean it. You may be able to go into the military and you
may
be able to
but
you are not an adult.
Listen, let me tell you something. If my son is out there somewhere doing that dance, at least he has the good sense to not be filmed.
It looks like the Macarena. It's like the Macarena with hip action. That's
my
what
son,
it is.
I know we're taking
never do that.
I know we're taking a little longer on this than we should. So the whole dance is I do something, and as long as I come back to this, it's called the nay. Is that really it? So I close my eyes, I squat down, and as long as I come back to my arm up, I'm doing the dance.
And let me ask something. I know we taking long on this, but who is this tramp Nene, and where she get off making up a dance?
Seriously.
Nene, who are you to be making up a little idiotic dance? Somebody punch her in the kidney.
Marquise Daniels, I'm mad at you now for even putting this in my head. Marquise played in the NBA for about 12 years. I don't ever want to see you doing that. I might punch you.
A lot of them NBA dudes.
I will disavow you as my cousin. If I will disavow you as an Auburn Tiger and as my cousin if I see you doing that dance anywhere.
A lot of them NBA dudes be falling under a lot of scrutiny. We got to kill them. You know what I'm saying? These NBA dudes we gotta do something about them.
Real quickly, in a game that was very uneventful, even when you watch the stands, this game, the people in the stands didn't even seem very enthused. Denver basically was not even threatened till about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. 24-17 over the Chargers. Chargers had beat Denver earlier in the season. Peyton Manning, not necessarily a great day, 230 yards passing, but it set up something that I didn't want. The only reason I was pulling for the Chargers is because I don't want to hear about this Tom Brady, Peyton Manning thing for 7 days. It's like
good luck. It's going to happen.
It's like these news outlets get it, and, well, Tom, do you think you could beat Peyton in eating peanuts? It's like they break it down like that. Well, you know, Peyton can do more leg thrusts than Tom. What does that have to do with the game?
Nothing.
You know, they want to show you every stat between these two. They're two Hall of Fame great quarterbacks. One has 3 Super Bowl rings. One has 1. They both know how to win a game at the end. They both inspire adequate to average receivers to play above and better than they play a lot of times, so that shows their greatness. The games in Denver, you could really flip a coin on who's going to win this game.
Well, the difference I see between them is that one of them owns 20 pizza franchises in a state where marijuana is legal.
So that is a good point.
Advantage Peyton Manning. I'm just saying, he ain't worried about money.
But I'm the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
If I'm Tom Brady.
See, this is where I think
I'm you know.
Plus you knocking off Giselle when you feel like it.
His personality keeps him from marketing everything.
Right.
Because everybody wants to slap his face and his whole mysterious, I'm too cool.
Right, I don't care to talk to you because you might be beneath me. I mean, I'll never say it. I'll never say it out loud, but the way that I carry myself makes you feel inferior to me, and then I give you that, I'm not going to say it, but you.
And I never leave the house.
Never.
Without my face cream. I mean, you know, I'm pretty Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, high maintenance Tom. That's how he rolls. But see, this
there you go with the high maintenance because I like to put on a little face cream.
No. It's not just face cream. That's only the beginning for Tom Brady. He probably gets more manicures and pedicures than I do.
But Giselle giving him to him.
Highly doubt it. There's an Asian somewhere he is employed.
Instead of Asian.
Yes. But no, it's just I think this is going to be one of those games, going back to what we were talking about earlier, where you see that, that experience with the playoff games really come in. Right. And I think that's going to be very important for these two quarterbacks because they've been in that situation. They know how to react in these situations where you have either a tough game or you have a tough play.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to know how to bounce back from that. Unlike Cam, unlike some of the other quarterbacks that we saw this week.
Right.
So I think it should be a really good game.
It should be a great game.
Yeah. Who are you pulling for?
Patriots, Denver, and San Fran. Two teams that have played this year, familiar with each other. San Fran and Seattle are in the same conference, so there won't be this you don't know me. We all know each other, so let's play football. It should be a great game from that aspect because those kind of familiar rivalries produce better games a lot of times than two teams that's scoring of each other. A lot of storylines in both games. Before we go to break on this, we just want to make sure we hit on Deshaun Jackson, the receiver. 2 weeks ago, right after the season, he goes on a rant about how the Eagles should want to pay him more. even though I have 3 years left on my contract, I'm not going to force them to pay me more, but they went to the media and said they should want to pay me more. I don't know why he would think that. Of recent days, he's been robbed. Someone broke into his home, stole about $250,000 worth of cash.
And jewelry.
And another $50,000 to $75,000 worth of jewelry, something like that, and 2 handguns. He tweeted the things they do for the paper. Keep a smile on your face. God plan for me bigger than that. I know that I'll starve myself before I eat off someone else's plate. I hunt for my own food is what his response to the robbery. He's offered a $50,000 reward for anybody leading up to the conviction, helping him find the burglars. So he did put out his own reward money for that. They disabled home security system. Yeah, it sounds like an inside job there, homeboy. You're going to hear me. All this.
The question is, why do you have that much cash? Like, how much of that cash and jewelry was cash?
$250.
It was $250 in cash, and it was like $50 to another.
$250,000.
Zombie apocalypse.
Right.
You
what
never know.
What is that going to do for you in a zombie apocalypse?
I'm just saying, you never know when you might have to. You never know when the world may crash, and you just might need $250,000 on hand. You know.
To go where? If
Who is it?
Crashes,
Strippers. Knock might come at the door. Might be a party bus full of naked honeys.
Think about
you never know.
Mark, you think about it though. The week before, he goes to the media and tells them the Eagles should want to pay me more money. That's the kind of guy that would have $250,000 at his house.
Yeah, he's not the brightest bulb in the bunch.
Me, I got to go get some money to pay the pizza man. I don't keep cash on me like that.
It's called a bank.
People,
dude breaking my house, and you about to get disappointed.
Yeah.
you need a PIN code, Tim.
When we come back, we're going to talk to our man Todd Harris. We are going to finish up the NFL in the next hour as well. Got a couple of little things, but we're going to talk about Major League Baseball, Hall of Fame, and talk to our man Todd when we come back from this break. 888-926-7562.
Hey, don't miss Wayne Gandy's commentary on the Ocean segment later in the show. It's thesportsjoc.com.
More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy coming up next.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
It's not always easy being a dad.
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now. What? What do you mean she's not coming?
But it's always worth it.
It's the fairy princess!
It is I, Groove.